we got a caution and got him back, and at least got back and ended up the first car a lap down. But we just missed it today. This track is so much fun. I tell you, I hope they don't screw this up like a lot of racetracks are doing by repaving it, because this track is so racy and so fun. But if you're off a little bit, you're off a lot. So to finish ninth and be a lap down, that shows how tough it is here.
It's as simple as understanding that anybody named Alex is not allowed to see their favorite driver win.
Sweet, sweet, sweet victory.
Yo. Hold on. Let me angle this in there. Do I have a lot to unpack here? And, well, I don't mean to start this video off very dismally, but things have not been pretty easy for me this past week, because only some of you know, but for anyone that knows me on a personal level, you would know that my grandfather, Tony, has sadly passed away to sleep in Scottsdale, Arizona, and, well, it was a very hard pill for me to swallow. He was like one of the greatest people to ever be on this planet. He was a great grandfather. He's everything you'd look for in a grandfather. He was fucking hysterical. He was full of personality, full of charisma, and he was just all around a great guy. I'll really forever miss him. And I was glad I got to see him right before COVID's diabolical onslaught. But the reason why I may not have told some of you this that are very close to me is, well, because I didn't want you guys to really worry about me on a very troubling extent, because I've had history of close friends of mine that were descending into a panic attack, which I'm not gonna really go to really dive into, because it's just gonna add more doldrums to this video than really necessary. But enough of that. Rest in power, Grandpa Tony. But if you want a brief recaption of Road America, it was a pretty decent race. Even though it wasn't like the most thrilling race I've ever seen in my life, I would still say it was worthy enough to keep it on this NASCAR Cup schedule, unlike some random street circuit in Chicago racecourse. And just to briefly recap, or give my brief courtesy, congratulations, Tyler Reddick. You finally earned your win. You finally got your first win after all those hoops you had to try and jump through to get there. But you did it. Chase Elliott definitely understands the struggle, and he was the one you had to beat, and you beat him fair and square. Good job. Hoover and I, after enduring that idiot, you already know what that idiot I'm alluding to is, Bristol Dirt winning in front of us because Chase Briscoe had to fuck up on you. We already knew how that felt. Tyler Reddick, if that makes you any feel better on the off chance you're probably coming across this video. But you got it. You finally pulled through. You finally came through with this. Okay. There really isn't much to really say about this race, but other than the fact that, well, lots of NASCAR fans love to point their fingers because it's easy to scapegoat the shit out of Chase because he's either A, the most popular driver and the most, sometimes almost overhyped driver, to my conceding, but at the same time, when you are full of charisma and are living up to your family's legacy and have the same wholesome attitude as your father, then, well, your popularity is very much warranted. If only some people who would know why Kyle Petty, Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Stephen Wallace never was drivers would understand this concept. Because if you don't live up to expectations, or if you don't live up to any kind of standard where you toe the line, then you're not worthy of someone having a big following. Anyways, now that's out of the way. While I understand that Chase Elliott was in the wrong, that he threw a tantrum at Kyle Larson for throwing a rather troubling block when Kyle Larson was not even aware of the fact that Chase Elliott was on his outer lane. That was more on his spotter having a brain fart than really Kyle Larson himself. Why are you finger pointing at Chase Elliott when that during arguably the most incongruous time possible? Like, why aren't you pointing your finger at SMI for even encouraging this bullshit in the first place? They're the ones that turned Atlanta into a Daytona and Talladega bootleg, so you should be ranting about them for even encouraging this bullshit in the first place. Not to mention, of course, the fact that if it was on the old Atlanta package, this shit probably likely, very much more than likely, never would have happened. So it's only so convenient that you guys decided to postulate the fact that Chase Elliott is supposedly the most dirty driver on a bootleg Daytona and Talladega. Especially when you guys, yet again, are reenacting your tantrums from the 2013 July Daytona race of how you behave towards Jimmy Johnson. Some of you even going as far as to wishing death upon Jimmy Johnson on Dave Moody's show. And now you're just wanting to stoop down to that level again? Pick a lane, stay in it. You can't decide what is and isn't okay. Not to mention, this is a build up to something that has a very big bearing on this topic. But how come I didn't hear about you guys blacklisting Ryan Blaney when he threw a similar block on Eric Jones for the win at Talladega in 2020? Why are we still cherry picking who should be scapegoated in NASCAR? Blame the real culprits, and the real culprits is SMI ruining Atlanta. When Atlanta was not built for this bullshit in the fucking first place. It pisses me the fuck off to immeasurable extents. And honestly, this should be a more happy video than an angry video, but NASCAR Twitter is the biggest cesspool of fucking morons that I've ever seen in my entire human existence. And trust me, I've heard about the wrestling fan base. And I've already endured years of the Star Wars community. But this is all sorts of rare forms of bad. And just letting you know, guys, you didn't warm up to Jimmy Johnson. You didn't grow up. You just switched fucking teams. You just switched victims of your tirades. Now you respect Jimmy Johnson because he's not a threat. But now that Chase Elliott's the threat, you hate him. What's wrong? Did your he's the next Kyle Petty or he's the next Casey Atwood hypothesis becoming false really get to you that much on a personal level? Kiss my ass, get that shit out of here. Jesus fuck. What exactly are we going to do with the NASCAR fan base? What exactly are we going to do to the NASCAR fan base to keep them in check? So many of these people are just too spineless and weak to keep their consistencies and self-awareness in check. You people bagging on fan bases are no different than how you present yourself as a hate base towards a certain driver because of the amount of proliferation you guys are responsible for such feces. Man, I guess you could say that's a very salubrious luxury to be banned from Twitter ever since Elon Musk's purchase of it, or presumed purchase of it, since he's now officially probably backing out of the Twitter purchase. Then again, it's shit like this is exactly why I have just absolutely no existence of me missing Twitter. I'm not gonna go back, oh, I miss Twitter. Don't, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I'm tired of it being a fucking Chernobyl meltdown every single fucking weekend because you idiots can't get your goddamn heads out of your asses because you think it's such a very luxurious place to smell your lethal huge ones before you could even rip it out. Ugh. And anybody that even dares to pull the Bulverism fallacy on me would know that I was very much holding Chase Elliott accountable during the Auto Club race. Chase Elliott, you bet your ass, was very much in the wrong. Of course he was in the wrong to throw a tantrum at Kyle Larson, because he wasn't blaming the actual culprit before he could even have any kind of rational vent. And Kyle Larson's spotter even admitted that it was his fault, and when Kyle Larson's spotter basically admitted the fact that it was his own doing, we all basically moved on from that, and now we suddenly want to conveniently go back on that whataboutism just because we can conveniently go back to using that Tukoko fallacy. I mean, I will not at all disagree that the Chase Elliott fanbase obviously is not even any different from the people that I am currently miffed about, especially when both sides have shown characteristics of how the whole community reacted towards Jimmy Johnson's mistreatment towards, well, not mistreatment, but how he misjudged how to race on Marcos Ambrose, which, well, in fairness, he was the one that was intentionally, blatantly trying to get him out of line in the first place. He was trying to get him high and dry, so can you really blame Jimmy Johnson from July 2013 for driving down in front of Marcos Ambrose? Besides, it was just a slight tap, and that slight little effect led to a big, big effect. So it's only so convenient that so many of these idiotic dumbasses try to exacerbate so much controversy and so much toxicity. It's becoming so negatory to even have any kind of rational or civil discussion among the NASCAR fan base at this point. Like, are you surprised? Are you surprised that they would never have a dose of self-awareness on their consistencies? I sure as hell am. Because it's just become so redundant and banal, dealing with the same cycle over and over and over and over again. How come we're not painting Ross Chastain as the ultimate scapegoat when he's been the one bagging on Denny Hamlin, basically using Denny Hamlin as the punching bag? Chase was in the right because he was on the defensive line. If he didn't make a move, it was over. What's he gonna do? Just be a pussy and just let everyone go just because he's too soft to actually defend for a hometown victory? Get lost! Get lost deep in the redwoods in California. Or, fuck that. You know, actually, fuck that. I'm saving the environment. Get lost deep at Point Nemo in the Pacific Ocean. where all the space debris has landed on Earth. You all keep saying that Blocken is racing, Blocken is racing. If it was anyone else that wasn't a part of Hendrick Motorsports, that was the bed you've made for yourselves. Now you can't escape out of Amber Heard's bed. Come on. You can't escape from Amber Heard's bed or Kyle Busch's bed. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to lump Kyle Busch in the same category as that scumbag. As much as I'm not very much a fan of Kyle Busch at all, as I've already, explained multiple times. But he, however, still had the right to attempt to block Tony Stewart in the 2009 July race, even if it meant wrecking himself, and the same applies tenfold to Carl Edwards. Because all bets are off on the closing laps. If you are in the defensive position, you have to do everything possible to defend your position. So no, Chase Elliott wasn't even doing that bullshit out of spite. So I really don't get the temper tantrums, aside from you guys being driven by past spite, or just because you cannot stand the fact that he is a popular driver, or has more success than you would have expected him to have. But don't worry, your myopic viewpoint is going to be rendered obsolete in due time, and one day, much like you guys warmed up to Jimmy Johnson, or supposedly warmed up to Jimmy Johnson, you're going to wish you've taken back everything you've ever possibly said about Chase Elliott, because all I ever see when it comes to him saying he has a boring cardboard box personality are just people that just want to have one-word reasonings of why they don't like him in the first place. Just basically cop-out answers because they just don't want to have a civil discussion about why they can't stand him so much. Because it's like the easiest way for anyone to just immediately shut down an argument, shut down a conversation, just because they want to pull a fast one. And it's left me nothing short of absolute repugnance that people have such vendettas against people that win much more often than the driver they root for. I will never understand why people are pretending that douchebags like fucking Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are the victims, but always act like Chase Elliott is the devil's child. It just makes no fucking sense. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. In fairness, Denny Hamlin was in the right to be frustrated about Ross Chastain being a complete wrecking ball, so I will give the Denny fans that. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Chastain really has been out of line these last couple of races towards Denny for whatever reason, so yeah, there you go. I don't see why Ross Chastain would want to be using Denny Hamlin as a punching bag when, well, Denny Hamlin's not even that high in points, and when Ross Chastain's plenty fine himself on points, when he's already setting himself up in stone for an ugly future in the autumn when, well, Denny Hamlin could hit the bullseye on Ross Chastain by intentionally dumping him at Phoenix and supposedly letting that parallel to Jeff Gordon and Bowyer's feud at Phoenix almost 10 years ago come in full circle. It really beats me, and I suppose that will be a never-ending mystery until we get to that autumn period. Also, why are we only being opportunists about painting Chase Elliott as a scapegoat, or at tracks where it's very fucking easy to blacklist someone on tracks that are either hinged on a pack racing package or, well, just, well, you know, when you're talking about pack racing and blaming someone or pointing your fingers at someone else, it's very, very fucking easy to grasp at straws when it comes to Talladega and Daytona or bootlegs of those tracks. I've made my point why Talladega does not... Talladega? Atlanta was too damn good of a track to receive any kind of pack racing appeasement to the masses, so, well, there you go. You guys really should be pointing your fingers at SMI for ruining their fan-favorite tracks as opposed to the easy target among the NASCAR field, which is Chase Elliott. So, of course, since Chase Elliott is the one that won, it is a massive angry mob, just because, well, they continue to completely scorch their "he's such a golden boy" up in flames. Because most of their tantrums are fucking cowardice, because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. They don't want to concede that their low expectations have been completely shut down. They are just so muddled into their own fantasies. So why are we now suddenly conveniently painting Chase Elliott as the supposed cancer of NASCAR, when we all damn well know in our heart of hearts that SMI has been doing everything to botch the fan-favorite tracks, like, to so much unpardonable levels that it makes us miss Kentucky Speedway. So yeah, NASCAR fans, pick a fucking lane, stay in it. Because I wasn't even thrilled when I heard about Kyle Busch crashing at Texas Motor Speedway during the All-Star race. I mean, fuck, guys. You know I'm not even the biggest fan of Austin Dillon, and you guys even know I wasn't even cheering for him wrecking. Why, with such a magnitude of a hit like that? Because you fucking know, that SMI asks for this bullshit. When are people gonna realize that conveniently going back or throwing their stance on how tracks are treated out the window has become the most blatantly obvious bias hate boner that they've ever displayed on social media? Why are we now conveniently blaming Chase as the ultimate cancer of NASCAR when it's pretty fucking obvious that SMI has been destroying so many fucking tracks into unnecessary measures? It's clearly obvious that Atlanta does not need a bootleg pack racing package. Has done nothing to be degraded into a bootleg of anything. Atlanta was badass enough on its own for the highest standard of intermediate racing. That's it. Atlanta was badass enough on its own before this bullshit. It was even badass in 2021, even though the dirty air for the lap cars kind of hindered the racing a little bit, but still, it's a lot better than this fake bullshit. If you think this is a specific driver at fault, you are a blind fucking idiot. Because this would have happened at Daytona and Talladega. So it's only so convenient you decide to throw your criticisms of SMI out the window just because you are such an opportunist on Chase Elliott. Because you guys just have to project your spiteful bitterness onto Chase Elliott, who has been arguably having a lot more success than whatever driver you may be rooting for, unless his name's Kyle Larson. Or, of course, Ross Chastain. But even then, how long is he gonna last if he keeps up with his destructive, violent rivalry against Denny Hamlin? Because it's definitely not going to do him any favors heading into the playoffs. Because do I even need to recap from 10 years ago of the Boyer and Gordon incident again? I don't think I have to. You guys always claim that you're smarter than me, so anybody who claims that they're smarter than me would know that I held Chase Elliott accountable at the Auto Club race and would not need any kind of recall at all. So yeah, on a more happier note, congratulations, Alex Hoover. You finally got to see Chase Elliott win in person. And you and I finally have a common happy moment to our names. You and I finally have something in common about Hendrick Motorsports when it comes to going to races. And you went the distance, even if it meant getting into the heart of danger that is SMI botching their fan-favorite tracks. But it may not be easy seeing Atlanta how it is now, but you went the distance, you finally got your milestone, so I'm proud of you. You rolled the dice and it landed fucking well. You landed the jackpot. You landed the bullseye. Everything. You did everything you could to get that glorious moment of yours, and I advise you to cherish in this moment forever. Alright, that's enough of my venting. I want you guys to know that I am thrilled myself, but goddamn, does the NASCAR always exhaust every possible thing under their power to piss me the fuck off. They'll get over it, I'm sure. I seem to recall some of you morons saying that, that you don't like pussy racing by being too scared to jump people. Don't get me wrong, I fucking hate that racing too, but you're conveniently against it whenever it's a driver you can't stand that's doing it? Then again, this is the NASCAR fan base we're talking about. I've long-winded this enough. The race fucking sucked. SMI fucking sucks. Have a great day, my dudes. And go Hendrick Motorsports and go Chase Elliott.